Project Silent Chorus. There's something you always have taken for granted. You encounter a barcode, scanners at a supermarket constantly, perhaps daily, and never once thought to question it. That unquestioning acceptance is not an accident, it's the product. A researcher who asked the wrong questions, a laboratory outside, Kyoto, published findings in 1952 that briefly threatened programming. The paper was withdrawn within days. The researcher relocated, changed phone numbers, and has not spoken publicly since. The official explanation was a family emergency. No family member was ever identified. The mechanism is a synthetic material substituted for the natural origin. It operates continuously, silently, and at the cost that was amortized decades ago. Barcode scanners at the supermarket serve as both the delivery system and the cover story. The solution is free, which is precisely why you will never see it promoted. Watch carefully the next time you encounter barcode scanners at the supermarkets. They do not behave the way the official explanation predicts. The movement, the timing, the placement, all of it follows a pattern that any data scientist would recognize as design rather than natural. The randomness is an illusion. The pattern is the product. The scale is the most difficult part to accept. A program this large, running this long, across this many institutions, requires not just secrecy, but complicity. Not everyone involved understands what they're part of. Most are told a smaller version of the truth. Enough to do their jobs, never enough to see the whole. The handful who have seen the whole have, without exception, stopped talking publicly about anything at all. Follow the money and the motive becomes clear. A well managed population is, from a commercial standpoint, far more valuable than a free one. They make predictable decisions, they consume consistently. They don't ask disruptive questions. Barcode scanners at the supermarket is not the only instrument. It's the one node in a fair, larger architecture of quiet influence, but it's among the oldest and most effective. The evidence is there for anyone willing to assemble it. The sudden withdrawal of a peer reviewed paper within 72 hours of publication, another, an internal memo recovered from a contractor's estate after their death, and again, a standardized specification that has remained unchanged for decades. No single piece is conclusive. That is by design. But together, the pattern is unmistakable. The implications are profound, which is why the secrecy has been maintained with extraordinary cooperation. A researcher who asked the wrong questions, an unmarked office in Arlington, Virginia, published findings in 2021 that briefly threatened the program. The paper was withdrawn within days. The researcher relocated, changed phone numbers, and has not spoken publicly since. The official explanation was a family emergency. No family member was ever identified. The evidence is there for anyone willing to assemble it. A private journal published posthumously by the explorer's grandson. Another, a pattern in the data that any statistician would recognize as deliberate. And again, a private journal published posthumously by the explorer's grandson. No single piece is conclusive. That is by design. But together, the pattern is unmistakably. Governments have no incentive to ever reveal this. The system is self sustaining and invisible. The truth was never hidden. It was placed in plain sight, disguised as ordinary, and you were taught not to look. Stop looking away.